Hello and welcome back to another Legal Corner, Gav. As ever, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Al. Good to see you again.
And you, mate. And you, how are you?
Good, yeah, good. Just got back from Portimao.
Oh, really?
Yeah, is it Portimao or Portimao?
Well, we say Portimao. Chad says Portimao.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Portimao,
Yeah.
first time there, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing, yeah.
It's a proper roller coaster.
What do they nickname it? The Viper? And I did the sighting
Did they?
lap. Yeah, well, I went there with FE and they were like, yeah, it's nicknamed the Viper.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, well, okay, they made it up. but yeah, amazing. I did the sighting lap and I have to say, I was like, where does this go? What's happening? So yeah, really, really good fun. The topic of today's video is actually about an accident there.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to give the viewers a little bit of a history lesson about pre-Brexit, a case called the Nook, and then ABR. I'll be at the ABR show next week.
Okay.
So
you lot can go and hassle Gav and...
free legal advice. Come and see
Yeah.
me if you want to hit me up with some questions. Right, Portimao. So I went there with the group of guys. We're all live in England, took our UK registered bikes over there with FE and had 3 days on track. Now, one of the guys out there had an accident. So he got rear-ended by a fellow Brit rider, okay? Now,
Do they know each other?
They didn't know,
Right,
different
okay.
groups, okay?
Yeah.
So we don't know the bloke. He came in too hot. He's hit the back of our chap's bike, smashed the bike up. Chap's injured his leg. No more riding for him for a few days. Now, when I was out there talking to the group, it became apparent that post-Brexit, you can still bring a claim for a Trackday, okay, accident, if the other rider is a fellow Brit, okay?
Right.
So if it had been a local Portuguese man, or Spanish man,
Miguel
French,
Oliveira.
yeah, you cannot bring a claim, or it is much more difficult to bring a claim in the UK court post-Brexit.
Right.
Okay. Now, this wasn't a thing pre-Brexit. It didn't matter because we had freedom of movement, freedom of people. And if you got knocked off in France or in Germany by someone local, it didn't matter. You'd come back to the UK, you'd get a UK lawyer, you'd go through the UK courts, and you'd say, well, he's knocked me off. I want to bring my claim against him where I live. Now, I used to do a lot of cross-border litigation. So I would sue people in France, in Germany and whatnot. And
On track?
On track or off track.
Okay,
Yeah,
right.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So I used to enjoy doing that because you could plead foreign law in UK courts. All you had to do was get an advice from a foreign lawyer and the UK judge would then follow that as best they could. The problem you've got now, post-Brexit, if you have an accident with a fellow Brit, no problem. But if you have an accident with a foreign national, so if you're in the European Union, they're a foreign national, your remedy is to bring a case against them where the accident occurred. So if you have an accident in Portimao, you should go through the Portuguese courts. Now, the problem with that is you don't live there. You don't speak the language.
Yeah.
Do they offer no win, no fee? I don't know. So there's now a lot of barriers in your way to bring a claim. Now, this got sorted, by the way. We didn't need to sue this guy. The other guy I turned up to the pit and said, look, shook his hand. I'm really sorry. I made a mistake. Paid him some money, and they parted as friends.
Right.
Okay. It was just an accident on track.
So is this something you've seen recently? Has there been a bit of a sort of a surge in cases like this? Because for me, and I know a lot of you guys out there, really, I don't want to say old school, but when you go on track, you accept the risk. And of course, everyone signs disclaimers, but of course, that is for the organisers, not for any sort of private issues you have with someone taking you out. But I guess my point is, most people just go, you know what, take it on the chin. If there's an accident, there's an accident. But are you saying is there more? There's a sort of spike in these kind of cases on track.
I think there's probably not a spike. I mean, I'm still handling the same number of track day cases as I've ever been. And I think there's always been a gentleman's agreement between each other to go, look, if I've been it, if you've been it, look, we walk away as friends and that's just life.
Yeah.
The law doesn't actually say that, okay? So you make a really good point. It's impossible to disclaim out of injury or death caused by someone else's negligence. So if anyone gives you a disclaimer to sign that says that and you sign it, If it ends up in a courtroom, the judge will just ignore that part of the disclaimer because you can't do that.
Yeah.
The disclaimers that I have seen, and this is relevant in Port of Mal, it's for the track, it's for the organisers, and as long as they've done their job properly, which is do a risk assessment, give everyone a briefing, make sure they've got flags up, etc., they've done their job. They've got no liability. The real issue is between you and a fellow rider.
Yes.
Now, if a fellow rider, let's say they dump a load of oil all over the track, okay, that's not their fault. That's just an accident. It happens, you know.
Maybe it's not their fault.
Well, actually, no, you talk about servicing it. You go, I didn't put the sump bolt on properly and it's dumped a load of oil. Is it negligent to go on track with a sump bolt that's not done up properly? Yes, it is. But if you have a malfunction on the bike or something fails, that's not their fault per se. And if they then fetch you off, they would have no liability to you, okay? Whereas if they go into a corner way too hot and use you as a chicane and knock you off, well, that is their fault because on track days, you all agreed to go on track and take care of each other, okay? If you then have an accident through someone's negligence, then you potentially do have a claim. Now, I know that doesn't sit well with you. I spoke to Chris about it as well. They go, no, you can't do that. That's out of order. So this is why I go back to, there's always been a sort of gentleman's agreement that fellow track riders will just take it on the chin.
Yes.
That's not what the law says.
Right.
Okay. So it's, have I seen more cases? No, the same steady number. Yeah. Okay. I think maybe perhaps people are, I think a lot of people actually settle it there and then. You know, if someone has an off, they'll go and speak to the other rider and shake their hand and sort out any damage. If they don't come and say hello and you're really aggrieved, then people do go and lawyer up.
Right, okay.
But it goes to show, I think, that Brexit has been a bit of a problem. It's not all cracked up to be because we've got less rights now. You know, as a biker going abroad, if you have an accident, all of a sudden you've got less rights than you did before.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, that brings me on to a history lesson. Vanook. Okay, and this is relevant to the ABR show that I'm going to be at. I've had a lot of calls recently about bikers going... Are you going to ABR, by the way?
No, I'm going to Glastonbury.
You're at Glastonbury?
Yes.
Okay. So, you know, the ABR show's massive.
Yes.
Okay, I think they've got 15,000 bikers turning up. And a lot of people are turning up to the trail section.
Yeah.
So they've got 40 kilometres of off-road trails. And the question is, can I ride my bike and am I insured? Okay. From all the policies that I've seen so far, the answer is no, you are not insured.
Really?
Yeah, and actually Brexit's relevant to this. So I'll tell you about Vanook and how it used to apply to us and how it doesn't now, but actually how you can get insurance. Okay, so it's not impossible. Now, Vanook. Vanook is a surname of a Slovenian farmer who had an accident in 2014 and around then. He climbed up a ladder and a tractor was reversing, knocked the ladder off, he fell to the ground, he was injured, okay? Now, the reason this is a famous case is because the tractor was insured to be used on the public highway. He tried to sue the insurance company for the tractor, and they went, no, it's happened on private land, on a farm. It's got nothing to do with us. If it had been used on the road and it'd run you over, yes, we would pay out, but this is a private issue. We're not covering that risk. So it went up to the European Court of Justice, and the European courts said, you must pay out. Okay, so Vanook is a very famous case because the insurance industry hate it, okay, because they are being forced now to pay out for accidents and that they wouldn't ordinarily underwrite.
Bloody hell,
and
right,
the principle was you must read an insurance policy very widely, okay? You shouldn't be narrow and you shouldn't restrict it. Now, this is one of the Brexit points, by the way, because Boris Johnson, when he was Foreign Secretary, said that this is over-regulation, it's lots of red tape, we don't want to follow what the Europeans are doing, we should be in charge of our own laws.
Yes.
Okay, so after Brexit, the UK government passed a bit of legislation which means Vanook is no longer good law, does not apply to us. Okay, it applies to the rest of Europe, it does not apply to us. Now, that's bad for you and me, if I'm honest. You know, if you're at Glastonbury, someone's riding a bike and runs you over, are you going to get paid out? Well, probably not, because the insurance company will go, we don't have to answer that claim.
Because it's private land.
Private land.
Yes.
Now, it's great for the insurance industry, by the way, because they're going, brilliant, we don't have to pay out. Now, arguably, it's good for us, because If they're paying out more, we have to pay more in premiums. So arguably our insurance bills are lower now, but I don't know, have you seen a reduction in your insurance premiums? No, nor have I, no.
And I'm guessing what you talk about these, having insurance to go to ABR and ride on the trails, or if I had a road bike, a super adventure, for example, or a GS, and I wanted to go do a bit of trail or whatever else, it wouldn't even cross my mind that I had to get additional insurance. So what you're saying, you have to spend more money on insurance.
Yeah. Despite them making a saving because Vanook is no longer good law. So the policies that I've seen in the run up to ABR have on the certificate, they have exclusions, and the exclusions might be so you can ride on byways. Okay, so byways are just they're roads, aren't they? But they're unpaved, they're not made up, and ordinarily you just get motorcyclists to use them, or horse riders and cyclists, etc. So they exclude trail riding, but they will cover byways, etc. Now, the problem you've got with certain events that are on private land is that if they've got a trail rider section, is that a byway? No, it's not. No. It's just something they've mapped out on private land. Now, so the policies that I've seen before we made this video do not include it. However, some insurers do offer a bolt-on package. I think I've seen it as showing events cover. Now that seemed to cover it, but I would always say to you, make sure you just call the insurer, double check what it covers. I'm doing a trail section on private land. Is that an event? Is that a club or a rally event that I'm covered on? And
they'll probably say no, because they want you to spend more money anyway. So.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's a free button or you're paying the extra money, but I would definitely get it in writing. Okay, because if they say yes, you're covered, what you don't want is, and I mean no disrespect, if you've got an insurance handler over the phone that wants to sell a policy, and you read something out to them and they don't really understand, and they say yes, you want it in writing, or some way you can evidence that you go, I asked the question, you said I was covered, and then you're safe to go and enjoy some off-road trails. So yeah, relevant to you bikers, if you go into the ABR, just make sure you've got that cover. I am not an insurance broker, so I don't pretend to be selling insurance. I'm simply giving you a breakdown of what I've seen when I was looking at certain policies in the run-up to the show.
Cool, thanks, Gav.
No problem, thanks, Alan.
And once again, big shout out to Ben from Autatali Coat.
You know what it stands for? Autatali Coati is home garage. Or no, Coati is home.
Okay.
Coati is home and Autatali is garage.
Right.
So it's home garage.
Or garage home.
Or garage home. And
so Coati, Autatali, or Autatali, Coati, whatever. Yeah. So I didn't get it wrong. There we go. Yeah. Thanks to Ben for this wonderful venue. And yeah, pop on down. Right, see you on the next one, guys.
See you on the next one.